Hey everyone, for this lesson plan and this study that I went through, I decided to get with the students again in our church, and we went through another name of God, similar to how we did last time. And the name we studied this week was El Shemaim, which means the God of Heaven. And the overall point and goal of this study was to help the students kind of gain that perspective of God being on the throne in heaven and Jesus being on the throne in heaven, and seeing him and approaching him in that way. And I kind of introduced the topic by just saying, hey, if you were to see the president or meet the president or a queen or king of anything in that type of position, or anybody who holds that kind of authority of some sort, how would you speak to them? How would you approach them? And the answer that I got from them, it'd be a lot different than just a friend at school or just some other random person. We would treat them with a lot more respect and just recognition of that authority and that position that they hold. And so we kind of went off of that and talking about, how we should approach Jesus and how we should speak to Jesus, and seeing that he is the one that is on the throne in heaven, because we talk a lot about what he does on earth, which is we should, but as soon as he ascends to heaven, we kind of forget to talk about where he is right now, and that is on the throne in heaven. And so when we approach Jesus, we should approach him and with that perspective that, hey, Jesus, you are King of Kings, Lord of Lords, over all things. And so we talked about that and studied Scripture, talking about how he is Lord of Lords, and has that authority in all heaven and on earth, all authority has been given to him. And so one activity that we did do was I went up to the children's area of our church and got all the pictures of Jesus that I could find, all of the drawings and the colorful pictures of Jesus with children and Jesus on the water, and all that kind of stuff. And I handed them all out to the students, and I said, tell me what Jesus is doing in these pictures, where is he at, and all this kind of stuff. And they all talked and they discussed all the pictures. And the one picture that we did not have in the church, and I'm assuming a lot of churches are like this, that there was not a single picture of Jesus where he is right this moment, and right this moment he's on the throne in heaven. And so we kind of talked about that and say, of all the pictures, we didn't have that one, and that's maybe something we're missing in discipleship and growing up in the church, and that we are not approaching Jesus with that perspective and recognizing him with that ultimate authority. Even though we talk about it and say it all the time, it's like when we sit down in our quiet time in the morning, are we imagining standing before the throne of heaven and talking to Jesus? And that kind of, we talked about that kind of stuff, and it was very encouraging to go through it with them, and they seemed to respond very well. The study did not last as long as I anticipated after going through and writing it, but it still went very well, and it was good to see the students kind of grasping, hey, looking at Jesus in that way, because they don't always look at Jesus in that way. They look at Jesus, hey, what can Jesus do for me? But when you look at Jesus in this perspective, you're saying, hey, what can I do for Jesus? And getting them to see that was very encouraging.